on a beach in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Maybe we can have this down there.
And interesting, I didn't really know them, I knew of them, of course, the business and stuff, so, of course, when you're talking to people, at that point in time, I had 6 years in real estate, doing 40 to 50 deals a year, full-time in the military still, so, kind of doing things like that, and then to run into, you gotta have confidence, especially when, you talk about A, Bs, and Cs, Alan and Christine definitely being an A quality team, so it takes confidence to reach out to people like that, but you can do that, you have to have confidence in yourself and your business and everything else, so, yeah, definitely nice, and you learn, I learned a bunch from them that night. Not only do we all like Bailey's, but we actually had quite a bit in common. So,
Bailey's being at the top of the list. Probably at the time. And we have our fearless leader here, Jerry Murphy, and
well, I was the leader now.
the old leader, I guess I'd say.
That's right.
And Annette was going to be here, but she's feeling a little bit under the weather. So Melissa is come along too, and that's going to be a great addition to this. So I'm a rookie at this, helping to put these on, but I thought I'd throw out a couple of questions to you in no particular order. But Kevin, you seem to be on a little roll there, so why don't we start with you? And
we call that jib jab.
yeah. When you speak to someone, how do you usually start the conversation? I think that's an issue that many people are scared to just, I don't think there's a wrong way.
Yeah.
But what works for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I guess my advice would be just take a bite, take whatever that bite is for you. But at least take a little bite, at least be able to make that conversation. It's like everything, having, doing some business, being in the business, when you're very, you can ask Laura Lee what it's like to do cold calls, or you guys are doing cold calls on recruiting, an agent that you don't know, or it's not a very friendly, it's just not, chances are them coming here with you is it's going to take time to build that relationship, right? So we just try to have something in common. If not, I compliment them on something that they're doing in their business that I thought was nice, whether it was volunteering or something that was on their Facebook page of something that was creative, just something to compliment them on, which is legitimate. They're doing a great job. I noticed that. And, just want to chat about that a little bit, about their business, not about KW, but about their business.
And Colette, what's your thought about when you have a chat with someone? Do you wait for them, or do you?
More so if I've done a deal with somebody, you start that conversation with how nice the deal was, whether it was something positive that happened during the deal, you can kind of go there, bring the conversation that way.
Very good. Well, you guys are always so complimentary to people, and if we had a nice award, you guys would probably be right on top of the list, and nice goes a long way.
Thanks, yeah, it does. And you just have to, I guess it's a mindset of, it's no different than with, the glass half full or half empty. So, it's always looking for the best out of people, just hope the same thing that they're looking for out of me. So it's finding that common bond, whether it's family. When we first started doing this, a long time ago, 13 years ago, we were using the pillars of the company: culture, education, profit share, and finding through conversation, getting to know them. I used to try to find 3 in there, 2 good ones that would resonate with them, and that would ease it. Whether it's their family, whether it's very seldom about real estate until they're comfortable. They're going to jump onto you and want to know more faster than what you really should be telling them. Kind of build that relationship. Anybody, I've had people call, want to hear about it, that I know, okay, I only have this amount of time. I'll meet you in the parking lot over on Burnside. And here's your, no, I'm not going to hand you a package, and that we're gonna chat about things. And take this now, but let's make an appointment right now for being able so that I can answer any questions I have. So different styles, different techniques with people, and recruiting, is not a bad word. A lot of people take that as a you know, as a word today that is being recruited. We all want to be recruited, want to be a better baseball player, want to be a better teacher, want to be it's better opportunities. You know, that's the way I look at it as far as being recruited. It's myself, I'm growing, I'm getting better. It's not so much about being recruited. That's a great thing. You know, I think that somebody wants to take the time and they've noticed something that I've done and they want to have my time. Now, people, you know, agents, of course, and we all are hesitant, or people, you know, oh no, I don't want to go for a coffee or sip on that Kool-Aid, you know, that KW has over there. I think that, you know, we have to tell our story better too at times. So, you know, we are a very proud, humble company here. You know, sometimes we don't tell our story as well as we can, just for that simple reason. So, but, you know, I think with that is the relationship part of it, and let them tell you what they're looking for, essentially. You know, and it's certainly with the company. You know, we're not perfect. We certainly are a lot of great humans that are trying to make a lot of people's lives better. Serving leadership, you know, and transparency. There's all kinds of different things that you can bring up about the company. That's great things. You know, you just really have to find out what's important to them. To them. Their little world, drill down, keep drilling a little further than just this. It's what's important to them, what drives them, what gets them up in the morning. You know.
Well, Jerry, when you came on board with Ron and Kevin and this brand new opportunity at the time, you guys were so well respected, still are so well respected, and really gave the KW brand a real kickstart for a lot of people. You know, a lot of doors would take your call even, but the whole Murphy family has done so much for KW. What, in that same kind of vein that Kevin was, how do you start these conversations? I don't sense that you guys and ladies are grabbing someone by the throat
It all
try to
depends.
convince them.
It all depends on who you're speaking with. I'll give you an example. Chris Bray,
Yes,
we were on our way to Germany to see our family. She was on her way to Germany to see her family. I knew she was an agent. We struck up a conversation. She asked some questions. We talked about, you know, what we're doing now. She asked more questions, and over a period of time, she decided that because of culture, education, and I don't think profit sharing came into it, but she just decided that we were the type of people that she wanted to be in business with. And she made a decision to come here. I think she had to buy her way out of Century 21 to get here. That's how bad she wanted to be here.
Chris is on. Chris is on.
She
yeah.
just took a phone call.
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
Love you, Chris, and you.
and you guys are so well liked that I would say you're soft recruiters, complimentary soft recruiters.
But that's
Is
the
that-
best approach. Like Kevin said, you build a relationship with people and get to know them before you start trying to answer all the questions about what we're all about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's all about getting to know them, right? I take more of an approach like Colette. If I'm dealing with someone on a transaction or someone on our teams dealing with a great agent on the other side, then it's a like, thank you so much. You were so great to work with. Love how you do business. Could we get together and chat over coffee? I'd love to take you for coffee, right? Just as something simple as that. And it doesn't have to do at all with recruiting and like the hard sell, right? It's more about getting to know them, talking about business, and then it just evolves from there.
Do they ever push back and say, well, what do you want to talk about?
Some do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some do.
What do you think we want to talk about?
Yeah.
I think you can bring a little humor
Yeah.
into
Yeah, for sure.
things.
Like,
Like,
it didn't-
Yeah.
you know, they know the answer,
But
it's
use
just
a
how
little
you handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
going from there. In terms of the people that we talk to tell them about KW, I find people are nervous to start the conversations, big time. They think that someone is going to be saucy to them, or I've made hundreds of calls, which tells you how unsuccessful I've been lots of times too. And the kind of people that we want, I think they listen to you. And I think if someone's rude to you on it, I think that helps you too, because you're not gonna waste a lot of time.
That's
So you
right.
shouldn't be nervous
Exactly.
about having that conversation.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of different age groups. We haven't, Christine and I haven't been very successful on experienced agents. We seem to have found our niche with brand new agents. And, so that works for us, but it might not work for everyone on it. We probably stay more involved in their lives
Right.
on that. But that's just what works in our world. When you arrange a meeting, do you see them as, do you deal with it as an individual? Or because you're sort of a family unit here, and you and Annette, and then Colette and Kevin, do you guys do it as a team, the both of you? Christine and I do it a lot that way. So for the people that are on their husband, wife, and things like that.
We find that a very good way to do things, actually.
Yeah.
And you get two different characters dealing with the whole, like Andrew and Angela, for instance, we met with them numerous times. And when you're dealing with experienced realtors already,
Yeah,
it's much more technical and involved because they want to dig deep and what are you not telling me and that sort of thing. And it takes some time and you got to be patient, listen more than you speak. That's a good clue. You know?
Yeah. Especially if it's a team that you're talking to,
right.
because meeting them as a team, you get the different personalities sort of match up. So it's easier to get in relationship with them. Like you and I have met some teams that we've brought over, and it's a lot easier to have a conversation because typically in most cases, you've got two very different personalities and learning styles, right? So it's helpful to have more than one because we both approach it a little different, although you and I are more similar than you and Mom. You and Mom are more, offer more diverse meeting than you and I, but anyway.
That's true.
Kevin laughs because he knows.
We start debating over what we're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Very good point. And timing, when someone, to put you on the spot, when someone says, no, I'm pretty happy right now, things are okay, they've been good to me. I like the idea, you guys know my thought on it, it's the one bad day. So, if you can be the second choice, it might not be an immediate success story, but if you're the best alternative that they could have, if things don't quite work out tickety-boo, it can be a good relationship
Yes,
too.
that's right.
So,
Yeah.
And it's always a great way to leave things if you do, you start your meeting and if people do, just by talking to them, if they're successful right now, everything is going well and life is good. And the last thing you want to do is go in there and cut that down and show why we're so great. That's why the integrity and servant leadership and all those great things come into play. And being, you have to be careful for their needs. And it's like selling real estate. You have to sell them the way that they want to be sold. You have to recruit them the way that
That's right.
we've all been recruited. I've been recruited, and based on your personality, if you haven't done the personality profiling course with Annette will do it, or
Colin's doing it
Colin's
now.
doing it now.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to start and learn about yourself and your own personality, whether you're an I, an A, a D, a C, see why that was the last one. I'm an I, so I don't remember the C stuff, right? But you've got a great C, you surround yourself with great people and great things will happen, right? So we're all, you just try to learn something from them as well, so that they feel that they have taken something away from the conversation. Or it could be stats, it could be, I love your Facebook, but, there's a role of age agent that is doing some stuff online, fun stuff with, listing and I won't say too much just because, but neat stuff. So when I phoned and I don't have a relationship with them, they know who I am, but, just to compliment them on that, it's a good way to get that conversation started. And then you can start working, keeping notes on things and knowing what's important to them and maybe having an idea of what the timeline may be. gauge that by.
And what their plan is for the next 5 years,
Yes.
right? Where do you hope to be?
Where do you hope?
That's a great question to ask, you know,
Yeah.
where do you hope to be in 5 years? Where do you hope to be in a year, you know, and for them to start to get thinking about that, getting the juices rattling, and probably nobody else is asking them that stuff. You know, it's a great question.
Now, when we've been talking to people, both brand new and existing, Christine and I, we always push for them to have their life partner. It's the phrase, we're not up to date on all the proper phrases maybe, but
Yes,
that's the one we've adopted now. And we try and get them in the meeting to have their life partner there with them, because you know for sure they're gonna have that conversation before they make a decision.
yes.
So you may as well get some of those points. So
That's an interesting concept, Al. Actually, when we started this 12 or 13 years ago, that was one of the things head office told us to do. Come together with the people you're going to be in business with, make sure they have their spouses with them, and spend a few hours with them, and just see that everybody's going to be working well
Good
together.
match, you know, we match for each other.
We even had Melissa and Allison there for their comment, and their boyfriend, their husbands, their boyfriends, things like that, for their comments to see if everything gelled together.
Mhm.
and do you use that when you're talking to a potential KW recruit? Do you suggest that, look, we're very open to you having your life partner
Mhm.
there with you to have a chat at the same time?
You know, other than when we're meeting a couple that are going to be working together, we
Right,
haven't done a whole lot of that.
No, we haven't.
That's a good idea.
It's a great point, yeah.
It works with us
Yeah.
because just a short time ago, someone who we've recruited, then we realized that the partner wasn't totally on side. So we actually requested a meeting
Mhm.
with a partner
Yeah.
to, and the agent, to just get all the questions out on the table,
Mhm.
because they're gonna be asked, you may as well deal with them instead of the Tim Hortons talk,
Yes,
dealing with them.
yes.
Nothing against Tim Hortons, but as we all know, there's lots of experts.
And I think they would appreciate that. I mean, if you're, you know, peeling back the onion a little more to include that, you know, now you're at the family level, you know, if you're at that level, you know, and you're, you know, and they're trusting you to that point for your information and, you know, helping to make that decision with it, you know, I think that's a great way to do it. I know when we were chatting, day one, just, you know, down in Dominican, and we were leaving the, which I usually do, which is what I would do anyway, is just to say that, you know, if the time is not right, when when it does come to your mind that you're thinking of, maybe I want to, you know, and that depends on something that's happened or a change in your business, you know, you're busy or you're not busy, you know, and just life. So if and when the time comes that you do want to make a change, all I ask is that you give me the opportunity, you know, just make the call, just, you know, and then I'll give you whatever info you want and guide you along the process and help you make the decision. So, you know, chat with, you know, Christine, of course, and you meet with both of you guys. You're both rainmakers in your team. I look at it that way for sure. And so, you know, we, in that instance, and you guys would have done that anyway, you would have had both of you there at, she did at both meetings. But then when we got a little bit more serious about things and, you know, and that's the other thing, you have to know your material. You have to know KW. You have to know the systems and models to be able to, you know, how can you expect to educate people on things that you really don't know what you're talking about? And that's okay, because that's why Laura Lee is here, or any of us are here to help, you know.
Yeah.
You know, everybody is here to help each other, and you know, we're pretty excited about everybody having people in their line that works for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's a good point you make, Kevin, because if you're not well versed or comfortable in trying to go through the whole thing, the next best thing is to ask them, if our team leader calls you, would you agree to have a meeting with her, or at least take her call?
Yeah.
And Laura Lee will meet with people with you as well. So if you're not quite comfortable to have the conversation or the
Mhm.
meeting on your own, and you ask Laura Lee to come along, she's happy to do that and has done that with many of our agents. And it helps, again, bring that kind of dynamic approach to it with more than one person. So And Laura Lee is trained specifically to drill down to what their needs are. So she's able to really pinpoint what their needs are and then, and what the why is, and then turn it around to how KW could help with that, right? So that's her job. So she's happy to support you in that.
And she's extremely good at it. She knows the information that you should be talking about. And that's the thing too, that's great. If you don't feel as though you're comfortable to do that, to take your recruiting to that level, that's fine. If you have a person, maybe a client or a friend or a family member that wants to get into the business, you can comfortably share with them, if they're coming to ask you, or if you're having a conversation, they obviously have some interest. So you can take them to the point where you're comfortable with, and then do the handoff, to Laura Lee. It's fantastic with that, with doing that stuff. Just ask for their permission for her to reach out and answer any questions, that maybe I'm not able to, get in as much detail on. And, of course, we all know Laura Lee. She's great to talk to, easy to talk to, classy lady. So everybody's here to help for sure. That's a big priority.
Do you guys find that the more you meet with people, the longer the back and forth goes? And the more they tell you or share with you, is a better way to put it, their individual situation, as Jerry said, listen more than you talk. The more that I find, the more people open up, the higher your chances of success, because they don't want to be telling the whole world any issues that they have in the back of their head. And it can be as easy. We had someone ask us recently, we're getting along okay, but we're not setting the world on fire economically. Are you there to help? Are there training courses available? Things like that. And I think when people open up to you, then they've probably been called by 10 other agents if they're experienced. And for sure, they're unlikely to tell 10 people the things that are on their mind.
Yes.
And as experienced realtors, challenging times.
Yeah.
Do you think you're thinking, wonder can I put that on the Visa card? Or,
Right.
And we're open with those conversations. And because I don't think there's anyone that just started one day and the next day they decided to buy 2 more houses or something like that. So it's when people, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, can I go back to something that you guys had mentioned about, because you said, you picked up the phone and you called somebody that you appreciated their post and you really enjoyed how it
Yes.
looked. So that's an interesting way to do it, but then how much time do you leave before you follow up again?
It's a great question. Sometimes they'll actually, I'll wait a week, I'll maybe not the whole week, depends on how I thought that conversation went, because sometimes you have to challenge yourself. I'm an I, but I, personality, but as far as, you have to go with what they want. Now, I mean, as far as,
Timeframe
Yeah.
of
it could be a week, but it really
But it
depends
might
on
not be
them.
a phone call, it could be
Yeah.
another
It could be just a
message
message
on
or.
your, depending on what your
Yeah.
conversation was about and how that went.
It's real nice if they respond to me. Like I'll say that when you're comfortable, I'm gonna reach back out, I'm gonna follow up, because treat it like a seller, treat it like a buyer. It's really the same, very similar, you're running, it's another part of your business, no different than a referral business, if you're referring buyers and sellers throughout the world, it's no different. You have to get to know them, you find out about them. If they're interested, they'll send you a message. Hey, thanks, or do you get a message when you leave? Thanks for, and if you don't that day, that afternoon, send them something anyway, just to let them know that you do appreciate their time. They're, busy people like we all are, whether, family business or, so, it's just being there to listen and also being able to give them the right information. So usually a week, max.
And in
Just
that
a gentle touch.
in enough for a gentle touch. Okay.
You trip on them.
I know,
Yes.
so I'm gonna drill into this. But yeah, like, because I find, and I think that's where a lot of us we want to build
Mhm.
our downline. We want to be able to enjoy profit share, the benefit
Yes.
of that. We want to see amazing people here.
Mhm.
But how do we start that, right? And how do you, so that's why, that one, it's like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, you have no existing relationship with
Right.
someone, so how do you then just start that conversation? Which is amazing with a post, and I like what I see
Mhm.
that you're doing on social media. But then it's, okay, so now what? Like, what's the rest of the conversation look like for that call?
Yeah.
And then how long do you leave it?
Right. And different things, I mean, not that, not the age of people, I know this is a direction that, we have, whether they're very techie, whether they're not very techie, whether they're, they still knock on doors, or whether they run their, how do they run their business? What tools do we have that can assist them with that, and also take them to the next level with that? So, and like Alan had said before, not only, I guess like going to your doctor, not, you don't always tell them the whole thing all the time, but as you build that relationship, and you're purposeful about it, you make sure you set it into your, now I use Command, of course, I'm unlicensed now, I help out our team and do little jobs and stuff, but this part of it is very important. We purchased 100 acres of land, well, we purchased 50 first, and then outside the city, if we wanted that lifestyle, like they say, buy dirt, and then now we have 100 acres that has opportunity for growth and building houses, whether it's for our kids or our grandkids, so that opportunity, especially with land and costs and stuff, I feel incredible about that I have that opportunity. And through profit share, that's from our profit share money, so, we're purposeful about it, and we can lead into some pretty great things, but just not being, some people are aggressive, some people are not, and when you start doing your thing, be natural, be purposeful, be consistent, know your product, know your trade, and that's not only just selling and buying houses. Now it's being a good person, having integrity, being honest, having a good, just being the person that you should be,
I think it's
That-
interesting, you talked about time,
Mhm.
and you talked about it in a mini way, that when do I call them back? Kevin, you had every reason to think, when we first talked, that, well, that's not gonna happen. And it took 3.5 years with very little conversation in between, other than at an event saying hi. And then the one bad day scenario came into it. And when I called you back, I didn't say, why don't we get together? We're thinking, well, I said, why don't we get together because we want to do this?
Yeah.
Like that was just, and so I think that you have to play the long game in this. You can't set the time frame of someone making a decision.
No,
That's right.
and it takes a lot of time. It took 2 years for us to make a decision from the first time the unit on a process. 2 years before we agreed to take a deeper look at it.
Yeah, to meet with somebody with, KW,
So
so
it's
came in and to chat with them, and they're the Jerry and Annette, Melissa, the family, the Murphy family is a great example, because when Ronnie and I had first started this journey, and, 6 years, we, all these guys, but, of course you hear integrity, big, lots of business, family, good people, so of course, when Ronnie and I had discussed it, Ronnie reached out, called, and of course, a little bit of hesitation, of course, but great, no problem, just want to talk to us about something, didn't mention KW, didn't mention a real estate company, just an opportunity that we wanted to bring. We would love their advice, which was 100% true, and at the very least, hopefully, the information that we gave them in that 4-hour meeting the first time out in Fall River, we didn't know them, like we didn't know them, just knew of them, and now, for that, it's made us better people, our family better people, and we're grateful for that. So same thing, going through the process, you know, eventually led up to on Super Bowl Sunday,
I know, I
bringing us
remember
out to
that.
meet the family, you know, to go to Gary Internet's
Yeah.
house, which I don't think many agents, you know, got an invite to go there, you know, for recruiting or to, you know, to get into business with each other, and then to meet the girls and their significant others, and you know, play a couple videos in the living room, you know, and have a couple drinks. We're on our best behavior, we're on Super
I'll
Bowl
never-
Sunday.
I'll never forget, I'll never forget, Mom said, oh, it's Super Bowl Sunday, are you guys football fans? And Kevin's like, yeah. And she was like, oh.
Yeah, but again, you know, you know, in your gracious world, they had no idea, you know,
Yeah.
and we went out and we had the most wonderful time, and,
Yeah.
you know, we played the video on the home run launch, you know, opening a company, and the Parker family had it and did the video, and then all of a sudden, a year later, 2 years later, we win the home run launch. you know.
Yeah.
You know, so pretty incredible when, again, it does take time. It's not, you know, it's 20 months and, you know, right down to the last minute of John Ferber coming in to, you know, to speak with some people that, you know, that we had lined up. But, you know, it's right to the last night sitting over at Finbar's and we've got that magical call. Yeah, we got an hour tomorrow or something. And then after that, and that's how we just have to, if we would have rushed the situation, knowing their personalities, and they didn't have to do this. I'm grateful that they did. They were making lots of money and had a great life. And, but I think that the culture really was a big piece with these guys, this family.
But the whole thing is the same idea, right?
Mhm.
And when somebody makes a decision to come with Keller Williams that we've talked to, it's the same idea of appreciation and being in business with them and happy about it. I think that's a real significant thing too, when you're talking to people, we're not hiring people, they're becoming part of what we do.
Yeah.
We're in business with them.
Yeah.
And to the people that are interested in growing their downlines, you know, ask people like all of us here, ask questions, because you may find that we have found a little solution. You know, if you want to reach out to someone, we all know we're not allowed to send them an email at their blah, blah, blah franchise name address. But lots of people share on Messenger.
Mhm.
You're under, there's no obligations on Messenger. You can text people.
Mhm.
You don't want to text them on a landline number, but once you find you have
Yeah.
their cell phone number, you can approach anyone. In fact, first approach we had with Mary Brown was a text. I didn't
Yes.
know her from Adam. And a text, and followed up with a phone call, and then she was a one bad day queen. You know,
Yeah.
that call came
Yes.
when she had a bad day, and so reaching out to people, I follow what you said too. I don't know which one in particular, but you're actually complimenting them when you reach out to them and say, you know, you have a great reputation. I'd like to tell you about what we're doing and things like that.
Yeah.
We've done some work on the growth committee about coming up with an elevator speech. And I thought it was a really good idea at the start, but after I started talking to other people in other markets about it, they said, no, I don't think you should be using what I'm using. You should think about what you want to say in your heart to them.
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to get slapped in the face. So if you can deal with that, you know, just say, you know, I admire the work you've done.
Yeah.
We're looking to add good people like that.
Mhm.
And I think truthfulness just goes a long
Yes.
way with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
When do you have the talk, if they want this talk? And there's certain personalities that want it right up front almost about the costs at KW versus where they are. How do you deal with that? And I'm not suggesting you deal with it in a very early meeting, but what phrases have you come up with?
So if you're dealing with successful people already, they
Yeah,
want to know. Their numbers.
they do.
That's right.
You want to know, when they find out that a husband and wife are treated as one, they get all excited about that. It's pretty exciting stuff, really.
Yeah.
And when, so it's, and then they want to know about profit share, but we don't jump in about profit share with anybody initially. It's when they are around us a bit and they want to know, but then we can share that with them.
And they can join the 22nd of the month text and phone call
Yeah.
groups.
That's right, that's right.
That's right.
How'd you do? How'd you do? How'd you
Yeah.
do?
Exactly. Yeah, but everybody has their own way of speaking to somebody and discussing KW, A canned speech wouldn't do it at all. You're gonna approach each individual or a couple a different way.
Have some good information, have you can purchase some things, through KW with some real good facts and, some good information, drop, whether it's the Upfront magazine or different things like that, and then, again, item of value, try to give them something of value so that they can take with them, whether it's information that you shared or, something about the app, maybe something about command, maybe, different things like that. But they always want to know about the costs. And, if they're asking about costs, they're probably a little further along, which is great. Because now something has piqued their attention as to why they want to have a look. Because a lot of people don't. They're happy where they're at, and that's great. However, when you do, you're a business owner and you take it to that next level, there's so many variables that are important. Leverage. You want to leverage your time, you want to leverage your money, so you can, resolve so many opportunities in the way that you do it.
Other people, have you done anything about a small introductory video? The brokerage has done a little bit of that, and we continue to use that one, and we find it to be very helpful. So if you're thinking about recruiting, that might be a good angle to work on a little bit, because there's so many different ways of delivering things now on social media, and the cost is really economical to do it. Maybe from the brokerage angle, if we get someone in to do that or available to do it, and they're doing 3 or 4 or something like that, the cost can get a lot better. Does anyone use that? A video or video emails like what Ann sends out to us?
Bon, bon, bon.
Bomb, yeah. Those kind of things. People like information, I find, in different ways.
Yes.
I can't understand why they don't want to talk to me all the
Yeah.
time, but they just like it in different ways. And sometimes they want to think about introducing it to their partner at the right time, at the right situation that is going. Another question I have, when you're dealing with people, what's your feeling about, if you know them already, when do you sort of pass it off to Laura Lee? She is such a good people pleaser, nice person, that kind of thing. When do you follow sort of the initial and pass it over to her a little bit? Do you have something in?
I think there's a lot of the time it's just how we sense the person's feeling, if they're ready for that.
Right.
Yeah, how it naturally progresses,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people make that decision to come after a number of conversations with us.
Yeah.
They make that decision, and then the office just has to complete the whole thing. Other times we'll get them so far, and we'll set up a meeting with Laura Lee so that she can take away or deal with any of their questions or anything that they have a feeling that it doesn't quite fit. She can usually get rid of any objection that they may have.
Have you, has anyone had any experience with sponsoring people, recruiting people to other locations, be it Vancouver or Toronto or Ottawa? Have you had any experience in that? I haven't.
No, I haven't either. Back in the earlier days, I had, we had some conversation with New Brunswick and stuff like that, which was great. But other than that, I haven't. And again, that's the great part of this business is not only with referrals worldwide. I mean, you can build your downline worldwide. So, you know, you can have cousins or brothers, sisters in Calgary or Alberta, or, you know, that you can still influence, and even, you know, drip campaigns there. You just, it's like anything, being purposeful and how you want to connect with them, you know.
And we're certainly very I don't mean we, but the office.
You are, it's okay to say it.
No, the office has been very successful in expanding our reach into ethnic communities.
Mhm.
Have we thought about having a session for some of these groups that they have brothers, sisters, whatever, in different worldwide locations like Keller Williams? You wonder, could we be helpful to our own internal agents in helping them to understand how to approach in other markets, because
Good idea.
it could help them in their,
Definitely, yeah, and I mean,
in
maybe,
their growth.
there's probably agents that are with us that don't want to ask that question maybe, so we could, as the ALC does, they're the voice of the agent, so, you know, I think it's a great idea. I mean, you know, people have, you know, definitely influence in their own communities, and maybe, like any of us are just kind of scared to say, hey, why don't we host a, you know, a Lebanese night of, you know,
Exactly.
people that we want to come in, for example, you know,
Yeah.
never really looked at it, so it's probably something that.
Yeah, it is.
Because the reality is, for all of us in recruiting and growing the office, the stickier we can help people to be in the organization, the better off we all are about
Right.
profitability and
Yes.
things like that.
And that's kind of the thing that we forget about, I guess, because we've been so fortunate to have a profitable market center, hugely profitable market center. And, you know, I mean, most of the market centers in KW are profitable, of course, but, you know, it takes a lot of work, time, commitment, you know, to keep the expenses right so that we can profit share and share that gift every month, which, you know, when you do believe in it, it's usually the last thing of why people make the change. But again, if you're purposeful, if you're consistent, and you create that routine, that habit, you know, no different than getting up the coffee, you know, or having a coffee right away. Well, now maybe put something else with that, you know, go online, try to, you know, work building a relationship with 3 people, you know, and you know, one that you, and maybe try to better your relationship with 3 that is out there that when you phone, they're gonna know it's Kevin calling, and it's not a cold call. They're gonna say, oh, I haven't heard from you in a while, you know, and that's great. You know, it's kind of almost apologizing for it, because we all do it at certain times for whatever reason, but it's okay. It's okay, you know, you can get back in.
And that works really well with somebody you've done a really good deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It certainly is. And people, I'm a big believer in people like to be complimented, you know, and they like to be thanked. There's some basic things that,
Yeah.
you know, if you thank people, if you're nice to them, if you are helpful to them, I think they remember those things.
Andrew and
other-
Angela do a really good job of that. They send all their co-op agents that they do a deal with, they send them a thank you card with a bottle of wine from the team. Yeah. So just little things like that, right? Make a difference.
And again, it's all those things that we probably know or have heard, but again, being purposeful, it's hard, you know, human nature, you know, it's hard to do that consistently. Another easy word to say, but tough to implement, you know, so, you know, just, I guess I would say, make it a part of your business, ease into it, take that bite, even if it's just a little bite, learn something more about it, and then, you know, jump in, you know, I was certainly nervous seeing them and chatting with them, but you become a better person, you know, when you step outside that box a little bit, not only with this, but also with life and with your business of real estate. You know?
And it's a little harder now because everything is, you know, showing time. Everything is a message. Our feedback is a message. So you don't get that personal phone call as much anymore as you used to.
Yeah.
I didn't deal with a lady on a piece of land, and I just called her after I knew that my guys were going to be writing an offer, just to introduce myself on the phone. And she was completely caught off guard with it. But it was nice. It was a nice conversation.
Should get a phone call, you know, that connect, you know, that.
Mhm.
phone
Thinking
call,
that
maybe,
something
you know.
was going to be wrong with the showing or something was negative, but it was just me calling to say, hi, I'm Colette. Blah, 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 conversation. It was just a nice, good conversation.
Mhm.
I was shocked this year, a guy from Ottawa that I know, you guys know, Jeff Bayless, a bit too. His brother's a doctor in Dartmouth, and he was a team lead in Ottawa, very active in the company still. And about a year ago, he told me about home anniversaries. And he showed me, he kept track of his business. And he said he consistently does about 25% of his business because of home anniversary calls. He put it, I mean, you can put it in command, you can put it in your appointment book, he just puts them in. And he calls and he said, I bet you don't know why I'm calling. It's your home anniversary, happy anniversary.
Yes.
And he said, I rarely have someone do a real estate transaction that I've done one with them, that they don't call me. And he said, it's not over, it doesn't make you tired, you know, if you actually look at the dates, it's rare that you have more than one on a day.
Mhm.
Maybe if you're really lucky, you've
Yeah.
had two on
Yes.
June 30th or
Yes.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But, so there's all kinds of things that work for different
Mhm.
people. I easily, we like to steal ideas from other people.
Yes.
You know,
It's R&D, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. So what would you individually, for someone who hasn't recruited yet, what would you say would be the start? What do they do? I always say, what's the best day to do something? Today.
Mhm.
The second best day is tomorrow. But in this, if, you know, you guys, your families, you started it because you had to start it. You were growing a business. If you didn't recruit people,
You had to be purposeful.
That's right.
you had to have that purpose, that map of where you were going. But what would your best advice be to people who would like to do it, but they just don't know that first step? That's a zinger question, as I promised you. I didn't know.
I don't know, I think it would be, you know, like I said, find, you know, even if you just take three agents or three people in your life that are not agents, but have, you know, you've done business with, or they would be a real good, you feel they would be a great, you know, agent, or they're coming up on retirement and you know that they're looking for something else, or, you know, that's a great time to, you know, I had a friend that I was in the military with, you know, probably 10 or 15 years ago, and just reached out to me yesterday. He's retired. Chris is here. He's starting I won't say too much about it, but like people who are retiring from the military, for example, who are still young, and whether it's a medical thing or it's just they've done their time, people are looking for different opportunities now. So I don't want to say too much about it, but you know, he's definitely working on that. I love to see that. I love to, you know, because and here I get a friend. You know, we sit down and chat about it, and then I get a buddy of mine, which I shared with you, exact same thing, calls me, moved into Perthborough, you know, he's bought, you know, sold 3 or 4 houses with us, but he was always very keen on the process of the business, you know, and now that he's finished and just retired now, you know, we had a great conversation, we'll send him some information. But I'll call him before the end of the week, that's for sure, you know, just to, and people do like a phone call, you know, I know that it's so easy to, but when you hear over and over, it's so nice to get a phone call, you know, it's so nice to talk to somebody or talk to somebody in person, you know, because that's where our business has gone over the last while, where it's, you know, there's kind of a disconnect between that human touch, human concept, you know, versus just online, right? You know, it's much real, they can see you and hear you and hear if you're passionate about it, you know, I know that I was, you know, passionate about it at the start, not saying that it hasn't, you know, again, purposeful, whether it's health or family or business, and, you know, you can slack off from it, but you can always come back to it, you know, and it's very easy, just, you know, put a message up on Facebook, maybe drop around to some agent open houses of people that you know, they're putting the agent
Good
open
idea.
houses up, you know, You know, I get one all the time from a certain Royal Cage agent and haven't gone yet, but I'm gonna go this weekend because, you know, we're doing this. It's inspired me to, you know, go and do that stuff outside the box. So I'll attend that one on Sunday. You know, it's a great way to do that. They're gonna thank you for going there anyway. You know, learn a little bit about the product and definitely, you know, they know who you are. Thanks for coming, leave your card. And now when you do reach out to them next week or 2 weeks after, it's not a cold call anymore,
Exactly.
right? You know,
What about you there, Mr.
I would say that if it's an agency here that are nervous about talking to somebody about moving from their current office to Keller Williams, the best way to do that is to deal with somebody that you've done a good deal with, that you're comfortable with, that you talk to,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
text, you actually have a conversation with. You tell them a very little bit about how happy you are about being in business with KW. And I think that you are the right type of person with the right spirit, that you'd be a good fit. Would you be so kind as to let my team leader give you a call just to talk to you about the possibilities? Then that's all I have to say. If they say no, well, that's the end of that conversation. But if they say yes, which most people will, if you've already carried on good conversation, but they'll say yes.
And what about you, Melissa?
Very similar to what's already been said, but I would start out with a warm lead rather than a cold lead, right? So someone that you've done a deal with, someone you've been to an agent open house or just a public open house even. You can go to an open house on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Purely to learn your inventory and know the product for your buyers. And at the same time, you're building that relationship with that agent hosting the open house, right? So I would start with that. If you haven't made a call, talk to anybody yet, start with a warm conversation first. Don't just call someone as a cold call.
it'd be a little intimidating.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
You don't want to get shut down and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
doing that again.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think you people have an amazing advantage to start the whole thing because you're all such very nice people.
Mhm.
You know, and I think you'd leave people with a good thought, a warm feeling about having dealt with you. So you're one up on that already. So I'll take a lesson from that, and try and be nicer on it, but
What about you, Colette? Would you do anything different?
I agree a lot with, well, with what they're all saying, but more of a warm touch first with somebody that you've done a deal with recently or you've had a good conversation with and then kind of take it.
What would be your recommendations when you're aiming after a bigger audience instead of an individual or a group of 2 or 3 people? You're aiming at one sole large group to see who you can pull into that.
Well, we've done a couple of those, you know, over the past,
We
but
have.
I think Al could answer that question the best.
yeah, Sydney was a big one for us. The reality is now, I was talking to Kevin about this the other day. Everyone who's in Sydney is part of our line.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
Cape Breton, really.
Yeah.
So, you know, they've continued, they're getting, the spirit is starting to happen down there.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
they're recruiting and
yes,
I'm very pleased when I see any growth
yes.
that happens there on it because it's building a strong base. And
Last couple rookies of the year were.
it's very interesting, you know,
Okay.
to tell, for people to realize, and I think they've got a good story to tell. You know, so this year's rookie of the year is from Arishak.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, last year's rookie of the year was from New Waterford.
Oh, that's-
So, I mean, you know, they weren't from the south end
Mhm.
of Halifax.
Yeah.
That's where they're from, and they're building quite a bit.
Yeah.
They both have interest, and that brings up a point. We've started talking to more of our second line and the third line to see how we could help. We just talked about this
Yeah.
the other day.
Yes.
You know, sometimes when you can bring in an expert to help in those recruiting pitches, and So you just have to buy a briefcase and then you're an expert.
Yes, that's right.
You know, and if you ever heard that one, who's an expert? Well, it's someone from out of town with a briefcase.
Yes, that's
you know,
right, yeah.
and,
Yeah.
But how much do you stay in touch with people who you've helped to sponsor?
Just to finish
Okay,
on
sorry.
that conversation.
Yeah, how
How accessible are these people at your group that you're talking about? Are they like in different locations? Are they all the same?
So I'm looking at, so, I don't know how much Kevin has told you guys, but I'm looking at streaming directly right at the military right now in Halifax.
Yeah.
A lot that's happening and changing within the CF, especially
So-
with our Navy crowd, they're gonna be losing a lot of pay very quickly here.
So you're gonna have to develop some type of a program that you can share with them in bulk.
Yeah,
It's not the ideal way that we do things.
So I understand.
Yeah.
What you have to do is draw some interest to a new income, a new way of life, a new career.
Yep.
And get them excited about meeting you here or bringing 50 people in
yeah,
your
even
office.
having an information session here in the training room in the office and bring them in for a training session, do a short, doesn't have to be anything fancy, couple slides, some
Yeah.
Google slides on the screen. Why are you, it's essentially like what Laura Lee does for career night with people looking to get in the business. Why is a career in real estate so advantageous and how it has, you could speak to how it's changed your lives,
Mhm.
right?
And
This
when-
is what it's done for Lori Lynn and myself, so this is why, maybe it's something you should consider.
And when they leave this room, each one of them will have 5 of the brochures that you're gonna prepare to share with a buddy.
Mhm.
Pretty simple, but
Yeah.
I think that's where I'd go with that.
And I think simple is the easiest way to go with a lot of this to begin with.
Yeah.
The more you go in and in, especially your initial meetings, just blows them out of the water. They don't understand, they lose too
They
much.
get overwhelmed.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's the thing to do,
Yes.
and once again, simple is good,
Mhm.
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
keep it simple.
And Lori will help us.
yeah, Laura Lee can help you with that.
Yeah,
Some of the
and I
things
can
from
talk
career
more.
night
There's
would be
several of us
transferable.
Working together on this right
We
now.
do a Facebook
Yeah.
She
ad,
just said that
maybe,
it'll be
Yes.
exactly what.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what I was talking to Chris,
Yeah.
maybe see Jessica, Facebook ads,
Yeah.
things
No, I
like
was
that.
telling Chris,
And-
like,
We'll
that's
burn both
something-
different next week.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
something
right.
very close to my heart as a, many generation military brat, so
Yeah.
like, anything I can do to help
Yeah,
that with
No, I-
marketing materials or anything like that.
and then you can start once you get a little traction, you can, or even if no traction, you can put it out there in an ad, no different than a career night, but
Yeah.
it's a career night for
Focused at
these people.
military.
right?
Yeah.
Military or CMP, whatever, however you want to do it. And
Yeah.
You may get nobody for the first six things, that's okay, but you will get
The
some,
word will
you
get
know,
out.
and-
Yeah.
and, Again, purposeful, consistent, when you do those things, and now you can set it all up, let it go,
Yeah.
so.
Another point I see that we could, as experienced, we didn't know any better, maybe some of us when we started recruiting, but we were ambitious, is people that we have recruited, or people we got in their downline now too. We all have relationships with those people now. They've lived in real estate, which you gotta give them a pat on the back for survival. That they've survived. They paid their bills, some of them anyway,
Yeah.
and they're going on. Maybe that's an area where people who have recruited, we could reach out a little bit more to help them. Because they know us, rightly or wrongly, they know us, and they're out there, they're still working at this. And maybe we can leverage that too, because it's not like you have to make a deal with them. You've already made a deal with
That's
them.
right.
The better they do, the better you're gonna do. And
That's a great idea.
Exactly.
Mhm.
and maybe it's inviting them to do a session on how we can all help them,
Mhm.
that we could be available to do it. And I know you don't want to scare off someone saying, gee, I don't want to do any of that recruiting stuff, because I don't want to have to babysit them or something like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. If someone has some interest in it,
Mhm.
Kevin and I, we had to talk about this yesterday, that there's an opportunity for us to do that. And it's gonna help us all.
Mhm.
You know, we all will be able to drink from that
Yes,
bottle of water.
yes, that's right, you know, like they say, you know, together we all achieve more, right? So, and that's, it's so true, you know, especially when you talk about the, I don't know, I'm gonna answer that part of the question first, Al, about, you know, staying in contact with them. There's a lot, you know, people talk about that in different ways. My personal philosophy on it is the people that I have recruited, you know, we know them, you know, some of them we don't know that well, you know, as a, you know, a family friend or something like that. Really for us, it's how much do they want me to be involved, you know, do they, Chris called last week thinking about doing this, no problem, you know, love it, let's go, you know, brainstorm, and it's, you know, similar people with similar thoughts, similar goals, you know, a caring and sharing attitude that we've always tried to put here, and you know, making him better is going to make me better. You know, making his family better is going to make my family better, and all the way down the line. So, you know, I think if we do that, and everybody has their own input, their own strengths and shortfalls, and what they can bring to a conversation or to a committee, leverage something. Whether you have a broker's license, whether you're, you know, you're on the growth committee for KW, you're on the ALC, you're put yourself out there a little bit. I know that it's not that easy. It's just like taking a bite, but you know, I noticed for, you know, Andrew and, you know, and the Lehman team doing stuff about, you know, paying, you know, for, you know, for go to school and a camper and the different things that they have. And I remember seeing that thinking, I felt great about that, you know, because now not only is it's other people who believe in it are being purposeful about it, and it's changing their lives, you know.
Changing lives.
So, you know, I know for me personally, and we don't talk about stuff, you know, we're very humble down this kind of, you know, part of the country and stuff, but I mean, for me, I'm closing in this year, by the end of this year, I'm hoping that lifetime earnings will be 400,000 in profit share. So this is real money. You know, it takes a lot for me to say that. However, I've become proud of that. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of, you know, almost killed me actually, but we won't go into that one. But, you know, but being purposeful and seeing changes, you know, yeah, exactly. You know, it is a great feeling. It's just another, you know, line of, you know, of income, a sphere, you know, and your sphere of influence, use that as best you can. But, you know, like I say, I really do believe that if, you know, you're a good person, you know, people want to, you know, they'll pick the phone up versus always going to voicemail, you know. And except for Chris, he'll say, you never answer your freaking phone. I'll be like, oh, you know.
Joey Kurt's my friend.
But I always call that. Anyway, so yeah, brainstorming, all of that stuff. And just, you know, residual income is incredible, you know, and then you can, with that gift, you can, like we did, we bought land, you know, so we know that we have 100 acres, there's probably 60 there that could be developed, you know, and whether we ever do or not, right now it's my boundaries that we love that. And, you know, I can hunt and fish and take our dogs out, and it's just great for the head and the soul. Everybody these days are tired, they're, you know, mentally exhausted, and you know, I was no different, you know, so, you know, you go through the ups and downs in this business, not only with the business, but with your health and your family, and it's a big ride, you know, so making that other avenue for income is incredible. We're not, you know, I'm not somebody that's outstanding in I was purposeful, and like Al said, it's a great point. I had to be purposeful because we were, they wouldn't let us open a market center with 40 agents.
Yeah.
And at that time, 40 agents was the #5 office in HRM,
In the city.
right?
But you didn't open with 40 though, did you?
Family, because what we did was we
Family
opened with Family
First.
First Realty.
Yeah.
So we incubated, you know, same colors, same logos, except it was an FF.
Same font.
Right, same font.
It was.
And John Ferber saying that afterwards, you know, like saying, okay, yeah, well, hopefully we do open this market center, because all of our Family First stuff was KW, except it was an FF versus, you know.
Yeah.
But we were in, you know, like there was no way we weren't gonna be successful, and when you have that mentality, anything is possible, you know, but just make it part of your day, take a bite, make it some, you know, just start. If you fall off, it's okay. I've fallen off for a little while, you can get back on, you can do your little Facebook post like I did yesterday of doing a little bit of training. We'll do another one here, and that's leverage. You know, you can, people know that you know about something, and if they know you, they won't mind talking to you about it, you know.
And
So,
profit share sort of sneaks up on you.
Mhm.
Yes.
You think, oh, yeah. Yeah. I
Start
guess so.
small.
You know, you're helping the office a little bit, and I remember getting a $2 check.
Yes.
I think we've all been
Yes.
there, you know,
Yeah.
a $2 check.
$8.19, that was mine.
Oh, yeah, you were a big hitter.
Yeah.
But if you, it sort of sneaks up on you if you know, you're not gonna make a living on it the first year or something like that, but
Yeah.
it just sneaks up and then you think, geez, that's a fair bit of money, you know,
Yeah.
that's it's a good thing
Yeah.
to be involved with.
The people are like-minded and they have the same thoughts and, you know, they see that it is possible. And that's why I say this is a great idea to do this because we don't speak of it enough, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and command is fantastic, you know, even I use that now with, you know, leads or if I see an agent doing something, I'll put it in command. And, you know, which is great. I put it in there with my appointments, no different than calling a buyer or a seller. That's what my appointment is. And then also with the app down at the bottom, you know, you can see what your profit share was. So, you know, there's my lifetime there, $361,729.38. That's motivating. You know, and when you lose your motivation and stuff, you go back and you look at that again. And you know, because we all started. Some people will say, oh yeah, well, you started at the start. And no, that is so untrue. It was true, we started for, yes.
Yes.
But there's lots of people, you know, I think I have 10 agents in my first level. I don't think that's a incredible amount, you know, over 12 years. It's not a lot, you know, even if you said, I'd like to add one a year. Doesn't sound like a big task to me, but you know, when you look at the whole, you know, you want to be instant gratification right off the bat, it doesn't work like that. Of course,
Yeah.
it takes work, it takes
Takes
time,
time.
it takes, you know, and the whole while, it's a benefit to you and your family, you know, you can will it down and, you know, so it is substantial, you know.
Interesting story. Valerie Folk, who hasn't worked here in 8 years probably, still gets profit share. She calls it her Italy money.
Yes,
Good
Yeah.
for
our
her.
original team leader, you
Yeah.
know,
And broker.
yes, broker, that's right, yeah, she had all the hats.
So,
You know.
before we wrap this up, Janice, do you have something you'd like to bring up or talk about, or what would you like to do? How can people help you and how?
Because my downline, I've had people on it and they've either moved away or they've decided real estate is not for them. So at this point, it's a big fat zero
Mhm.
on it. But it's looking at, okay, so how can I grow it? You know, and these kind of conversations are crucial in that. And knowing that it's not inattainable, right? That it's one conversation at a time and it's.
Yeah,
all
Kevin
of
did it,
these
anybody
like-
can do it.
That's not what I meant.
Truth to that, you know what I mean?
But-
It's just having that,
Right,
You know.
and it's holding it in front of each of us. Because it's not just a here and now for profit share, it's a way to grow your retirement fund.
Mhm.
It's a
Exactly.
way to grow, you know, other people to have a better life.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so multi-layered to me, but in the busyness of business, it sometimes gets forgotten,
Mhm.
it often gets forgotten.
and that's natural, I think. And
Right.
then, you know, if we're on the, you know, the Facebook page, you know, the NSAR, you know, with people talking about recruiting and stuff and, you know, I think people just have to understand that concept that it's, you know, recruit, okay, call it referring, call it, you know, whatever you want to
Right.
call it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's, if you truthfully, honestly believe that this is the best company in the city to belong to, why wouldn't you want to tell your story, you know, and, you know, and, you know, we're not perfect, we're all human, but, you know, when it comes down to everything, we want everybody to be as successful as they can and more, with their life and with their business and with their families and with, you know, everything, not just the business. So, when you look at it, just the business, it's very, you know, it can be, you know, be a big task. But you just take that little bite.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
make that
and then,
call.
yeah, and I
And,
think
you know,
that's
the people
important.
you're talking to have to know and believe that we have the systems and models to make
Yeah.
them double their income in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
All you have to do
Yeah.
is
They
I
just
mean,
have to follow it.
put an invitation.
Yeah,
The training and
Yeah.
stuff, it's just kind of
Yeah.
what works for you.
And it starts small, right? And it
Yeah.
builds incrementally over time. So even if you start with that one person and
Yeah.
that person brings in a person and that person brings in a
Yeah.
person, right? You watch the tree just naturally
Yeah.
grow.
It does, they say that about, you know, if you put the onus on yourself to grow your tree wide.
Yeah.
Time will take it deep.
Exactly.
We're perfect. I mean, anybody's a perfect example of that. I mean, you know, right now, I think right at the first now, I think, you know, when you first start out, we get 40, 45, 50 people, and then gradually now, you know, when you look at your line on command, it'll tell you how many you're in your down line. You know, so when you look at that, it motivates you again, you want to tell that story and, maybe pick a morning, every Thursday morning, I'm gonna have an appointment.
Yeah.
To meet with somebody every week. Just, I mean, realistically, how many appointments? I used to think that was funny. You want to, how's 3 on Tuesday or 4 on Wednesday? Oh, geez, I'm so busy. And then I'd pull up numbers and know that they had done 6 deals that year. And then, here I, doing 40 or 50, in the military, changing my vehicle so I could get into a suit to go meet them. And then they say they're too busy. So sometimes I'll call them out on that a little bit, you can't be too, but don't say no to something that you don't know what you're saying no to. That's what Laurie Anderson said to me when we were there the very first time, that's what she just said, don't say no to something you don't know,
Yeah.
say no to.
Yeah.
Just have an open mind. Most business people who have that intellect, they are willing to listen, they.
And you'll be shocked, and when you talk to people, how few have been asked.
Yes.
What is it, 1,500 agents in MSAR now?
Mhm.
And we've moved out of HRM a bit.
Mhm.
We're looking at other opportunities in it, and it takes a little bit of falling on your knees.
Yes.
They're scratched up sometimes
Yes.
pretty good, because you
Yeah.
don't know the people
Mhm.
as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
might get sucker punched
Mhm.
once in a while.
Yeah.
And or you'll make them, some of them, you'll help them to make more money, because their office will
Mhm.
do things to retain them.
Yeah.
And we have a little answer for that. We'll say, well, that's one thing you don't have to worry about us. We're all on the same deal.
Yes.
There's no sweetheart deals here,
Mhm.
and we're glad we could help you.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I think anybody, who when you hear about different deals that people, get or things like that,
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's their business, that's their system and model. But when it comes down to transparency, that was one of the biggest things for me was transparency with the company, with open book, and being able to know what's going on with the company. When when you have a bunch of people in your downline, you should be treating that as if it's your own market center. So I am grateful enough to have 7 levels of be a seventh level profit share agent. So with that, there's people within that group that really want to work on that, the profit share part. Yes, of course, and hugely successful at it,
Yeah.
And having a more instead of blinders on, Alan and Christine, they're like that. They're, it's not just here, it's everywhere now. And that's the opportunity that awaits us if you want to take those steps. If you want your opportunity to be here and grow one a year, and like Chris is saying, maybe try to get multiples, and that's a big part of it. Alan, Christine did a great job with that. But start small, take a bite, get comfortable, do the easy ones, like Melissa was saying, that's great. Like do the warm ones
leads, yeah.
first.
Yeah.
The cold ones will come, when you start doing some ads or doing, maybe start doing some phone calls. Notice what you were doing there, thought it was great, or saw you at the ball field, maybe that's why you got. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have a session on how to tell your story,
Yeah,
right? Like, because everybody's got a different story to tell.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and we all connect with different people, different groups, and
And you have to be gentle with that. You can't fire
do.
hose stuff.
Yes.
I know.
And that's the thing I would say
Yeah.
for one lesson, I would say that we've seen agents where they've really tried hard at growing their profit share tree almost to a fault because
Yeah.
they fire hose KW at the person.
Which I think I've seen that, which makes me pull back and kind of go, well, I
Yeah.
want to do it right and well,
Yeah,
so.
And that comes
Yeah.
from the excitement too.
Yes.
So excited to be here.
Right.
You're gonna hear it all.
yes. This is why you need to come.
Get another chance.
What was important to you when you,
Yeah.
who's your sponsor? You don't want to answer.
Shelley Sampson.
Okay, shit. Incredible lady, right? One of, so
Yeah.
what was it that Shelley said to you, or did you have a relationship with Shelley?
Yeah, she
beforehand?
sold for my husband, so Todd's a custom home
Yes,
builder, so
yes,
she
yes.
sold for him.
Yeah.
And she was one of the agents that he could trust and knew
Yeah.
when she said she was gonna do
course.
something.
Yeah.
It was gonna happen,
Yeah.
and so they had a really good existing
Yeah,
relationship.
and you
Yeah.
had trust and felt good about Shelley,
I did, but my start to real estate was probably a little different than other people's, because I had looked at going back into nursing. And it was weekends and 12-hour shifts, and I
Right.
said, I really don't want to do that with 4
Mhm.
little kids.
Yeah.
And so my husband said to me, well, if you could do anything, like if you could pick anything, what would you pick?
Mhm.
And it was out of my mouth before I could stop myself. I said, I'll do anything but real estate.
And why did you think that?
And
What?
I didn't even think it, that's
Right,
the
so you
thing.
had
It was just an
unlimited belief,
automatic.
Right, yeah.
And he looked at me and I said, oh, I know what I'm gonna do now. Because every time I say I can't do something or I'm not gonna do something, those are the doors
Yeah.
that open up next
Right.
for me for
Absolutely.
opportunities. So then Shelley reached out
Mhm.
and said, I need to talk to you and Janice.
Amazing.
So we did, and I
Yeah.
said, Shelley, this is what I know and it has been my experience with real estate. So I told her
Mhm.
a lot of the negative.
Yeah.
She said to me, it's not like that where I work. And I said, oh, come on, like seriously. And
Yeah.
she said, no, it's not. And I said, I don't know if I believe you. And like, I was just really honest with her.
Yeah.
And she said, you need to come and work for me as my assistant for 3
Mhm.
months and I will prove you wrong.
Cool.
Interesting.
And that's
I
how.
remember
was
that.
like-
I
Remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been very honest about
Mhm.
that, like my start was very, you're gonna need to prove this to me.
Right.
And I
yes.
remember talking to Anne about it and saying,
And to yourself, prove it to yourself that
I did,
Yeah.
yeah, and I remember saying to Anne, like, everybody here is just really nice, like, when is it gonna change? When are things gonna shift? When is it, because this is not what I'm expecting. And she said, yeah, I've been here 2 years and I'm still waiting for the shoe to drop.
Mm.
And I kind of went, oh,
But there's your answer.
which is
It's
which
just
is
what you're-
interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in what
It
you're
is.
saying, there's your answer that I would hear from that, is when you offer someone to say, we're way different than all the other brokerages.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
and so other brokerages have said, oh, you should come, I'm like, you're never getting me anywhere, like that's. I said, if I'm gonna leave, I'm leaving real
But
estate.
there's your passion,
Yes.
and so when you're talking to someone, you could say, you know what, we're really different. We're not the same, and we think it's great, but we're really different.
And some of them, if there were some of these other companies, at the beginning, they had me floating around the office with a cape on. and stuff
Yes,
like
oh, the rumors
Do
about the
witchery.
cult,
Cult.
we all.
that. Yeah. Cult.
All this hugging stuff.
Yeah. They hug a lot over there. We're nice, funny, we like hugs.
Yeah,
So I think we've covered a lot of things, maybe didn't stick right to the issue, but I think it was good information for me. And, I think that's
Thank you guys for
a good
putting
Yes.
it on.
Yes,
So
thank you, Al.
all.
Thank you,
guys
Janice. This is
for-
great.
As Al would say, onwards and upwards. It's
Onward,
Onwards
yes.
and upwards.
So do we turn her off?
Are there any questions online? Anybody
That's
online
good.
have any
No
questions?
one's written.
So no questions, but I'll make a statement. I really appreciated some of the tips on how to approach people. I've got a couple newer agents that have been door knocking in my neighborhood, bless their hearts. So,
Invite them in.
right? Well, I ended up chatting with one of them for an hour and a half in my doorway. And I promised him that we'd get together for coffee, but I'm trying to wrap my head around how to approach him. And thanks to today, I understand exactly how I'm going to approach him. So thank you very much for that, because I think the softer approach and just coming from a place of contribution and how can I help you get started in this industry and what support can I give you as another professional in the industry? I think that'll go a lot further than, hey, KW is great, come on over here.
You got it.
Great stuff.
So thank you for that. And there's no camera on because I was doing yard work earlier and nobody needs to see what's going on here.
Sherry.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Mm.
Travel.
I think panels are great to do, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, you know.